Hey people, welcome back to this amazing program, Fashion Upcycled, where we challenge the usual perception of fashion and introduce all sorts of unconventional materials. I'm your usual host, John Olashe, here with my co host.
Okelea Joshua.
Today we have another item that we want to introduce to you in fashion, one that I bet that most of you won't even think of. And what's that?
Food as fashion arts. Yeah, food as fashion arts. So before we go right into it, we want to give a big shout out to one of our sponsors, Style House Files. An amazing work here that she's doing. Very, very beautiful stuff here to see. So, guys, I know today's topic you haven't heard of it before, and I'm sure you haven't wondering, these guys they've come again. Food as fashion arts. As how? But yes, we're here. We're here, food as fashion arts, and we're here to actually do justice to this topic. And I'm sure after this topic today, most of your idea will actually change immediately. That one, I am sure your idea will actually change immediately. Yeah. And today's program will focus on food, how a word that actually sparks wide debate, interest, and talks from a wide range of audience here. So we're going to be talking about the meaning of the concepts, the meaning of the concept here, and then we're also going to discuss about its history and its evolution over the years here. Its history, its evolution, the meaning, the concept, history, evolution, and then after we're going to give a brief discussion again about the criteria for the choice of this of certain foods, Lord, yes, of certain foods, Lord, and their lasting period. But first, let's discuss about the meaning of the concept and the history and evolution. So when we hear this concept, a lot of things actually flow through our mind. A lot of things come up to us when we hear this concept. But for me, for me, the meaning is just as simple as this. It's literally just using food as wearable art or a styling material. That's for me. That's just what it is. Using food, using food as wearable art or a styling material. And well, when we hear of this material, you might think it's probably not true. It's probably not real. But as we go right into it, as we get deeper, you discover that in as much as yes, you might think, oh, it's rare. It might actually be rare, but there are some people that have actually taken that bold step to do it. Yeah. So these are runway dresses that are made from vegetables, fruits, and most times inspired by food textures. Most times inspired by food textures. Like when we see somebody dressing like a burger, may not be actually an actual burger, but just inspired by food textures. You get these dresses that is just inspired by food. Like maybe I for instance maybe I see a sweet, or for instance I see this sweet and I say okay, oh, I want to dress like it. You know, maybe
Or you want to like dress in a color that matches the fruits or
not
matches the sweets?
not necessarily. Maybe I see this and I say, okay, as it's like this, I'm going to dress and it's going to cover or have everything that is on this suit. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how it is. And then we see that this idea came in to be in the 18th century. And when it did, it symbolized prosperity and it established one status in the society. Yes, it established one status in the society. And then by the 1930s, we saw that it had taken a new turn from the way we know it. And this happened through Elsa Schiaparelli's famous lobster dress in 1937, which was designed by Salvador Dali. Yeah, it was designed by Salvador Dali. But this lobster dress wasn't really an actual lobster, a real lobster. But when I said taken from food textures, remember when I said these are inspired by food textures.
So in the end, it's just its design is reflecting the foods that's,
Yeah,
let's say,
yes,
so
yeah.
it's reflecting their food or their native food or their favorite food.
Not necessarily, but it was actually reflecting that lobster, cause it's like you had a lobster printed on it. So it was reflecting, yeah, a lobster dress. Yeah. So and we as time went on, we in this modern era, the concept now changed and now the idea is referred to as gastro fashion.
Gastro fashion.
Yes.
Where did that name come from?
That's what the name is, gastro fashion, using food, inspired food as in fashion runways and stuff like that. That's the idea of gastro fashion. And then now it is seen it is seen by quite a number of bold persons. We see that quite a number of bold persons take the stage in this elegant attire. Yeah. So what do you have?
I have to say that this idea has become pretty much has become pretty much well known amongst many people. If you go, I feel like it's also become a household name,
Yeah,
something that most people would actually talk about when you think food or fashion. It's like you said, it's not necessarily saying that you're going to take edible materials and make them into fashion. Your very fashion might reflect food itself, not necessarily be made by food.
yeah,
It's not exactly the same thing.
yeah. But you know that there are quite a number. There are few people who have actually made their clothings from food snack. You get you know. Yeah. So there are few people, not all, but few people that have made it. But we see that over the years, people rep or people represent people who take from these foods and then just make outfits according to like the lobster dress we saw. Yeah. So as we get back or as we come back from the break, we're gonna discuss another very, very insightful topic that will blow our minds again. So guys, stay tuned. A very, very wonderful session it has been. But we're back and we're coming back to make it more insightful and more interesting for you guys.
Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned.
The 60s came, you had the hippies just wanting to sit in the sun and sing all day. I imagine that we're probably going to get something similar. The whole world will go crazy, and I think that it will give us a chance to be whatever we want to be.
Alrighty, guys, we are back from the break, and yes, it has been an awesome first session, people. And yet, this next session, we are going to discuss what influences the choice of certain foods and those foods, their lasting periods. Yeah,
What we're going to say is what exactly makes these people choose to use this specific food.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like whether or not it's going to be what type of food, let it be a fruit, a vegetable, let it
yeah,
be maybe just a popular like fast food joint, whatever. It's going to be what makes this specific food be used in fashion.
yeah. So why don't you take us on this moment?
Well, I feel like for food, they're chosen on very diverse benchmarks. Like, whatever one of them may let it be greasy, will it be nutritious, will it be popular, will it be like a food that is very exclusive, will it be a food that is served in very classy restaurants, stuff like that. I feel like if it's a food that more people are familiar with, it's going to be, and if they make art or fashion out of it, it's going to get more like it's going to be more accepted, like it's going to get more views from people all
Yeah,
over the world.
yeah. So like he said, one of the criteria or the benchmarks, like he said, is moisture, its dryness, or grains, seeds, and thereabout. So another big influencer of this is its texture and strength. Its texture and strength. Like for instance, you can't find a very, very soft food material being turned into clothing if it was actually real clothing. You can't find if it was actually real food clothing. You can't find any material being turned into real clothing. That's why vegetables can be used. Vegetables can be used, but apples can't be used. Why? Because of apples' color stability.
Like since vegetables have a hardy surface, and
Yes,
for some fruits, like you said, apples, if you bite into it, you can exactly. If you bite into it, it's easy to take a big chunk. But for vegetables, you actually have to use like a knife or anything sharp and strong to cut it out.
but more even better, color stability here. We're talking about no apples get brown easily. If
Uh,
you yeah, so if you bite an apple and you leave it, by the time you come back 5 minutes, you discover that that part is already browned up already yet. So because of that, apples can be used and wrapped into a fashion cloth. You get, but if you had something like cabbage or lettuce, because it has the ability to hold shape in a dress, it can be used. So because of its strength, its texture, cabbage, lettuce, and a host of other vegetables can be used in this process. But you see, apples, because of their color stability, they can be used. Do you understand?
Ah, yes. For
Yeah,
since you're working in fashion and arts, once you set your idea on a very specific color, it's not one that you want to change as easily. And if the color changes itself, then your entire design will just be ruined like that.
yeah, yeah. And then we see foods that smell like fish. For instance, fish can be used to turn into fashion clothing. Foods like fish, because of their smell, and fish obviously they get spoiled easily, so they can be turned into fashion clothing at all. But then, in as much as these foods catch the eyes of the audience, when turned into dresses, they also have long lasting periods as well. Yeah, they also have long lasting periods as well. We see foods like meats, they only last a few hours, but that of fresh fruit can last up to like 4 to 12 hours, and then veggies can last like 6 to 24 hours when treated. And then yeah, these foods, they don't just use them fresh like that to and turn them into dresses. They treat them properly. They have them treated. They have them pass through a method of purification, a method of treatment to make sure that they are very, very suitable. In as much as they meet the criteria, you have to make sure that they are properly suitable in order to turn into dresses. And then you see breads like foods like bread will last a maximum of like 1 to 3 days. And then dried foods, for instance, will last months to years if they're to be used as fashion dresses. You understand? So if I was to be dressing in like having a dress inspired by a bread, for instance, I can only wear that dress for like maybe a program, or a fashion program or a fashion event, and after that I'm done with that dress forever. Meaning that because it's only lasting 1 to 3 days, so within that space of 1 to 3 days, obviously I can't wear it again. So after wearing it once, that's it, it's gone. You understand?
Yes,
Yeah,
but if you are using a cloth from a dried type of food, a food that you could dry and make like hardy and easy, food that you could make hardy, then you could actually take that food and make it into a dress that will last much longer,
yeah, yeah,
like last you until next year probably.
yeah. So why don't you take us further in this segment, Shay?
Well, I feel like next thing we should be talk about are the notable figures who have actually found a way to make all this actually possible.
Yeah,
One of these figures, all these figures who have like inspired the idea of food in fashion and actually found a way to make it work.
yeah, yeah. So this is actually one of the most interesting parts of the show, because it's like more like practicality. We are actually viewing people who have actually done this. So yeah, we are going to be running through people who have actually taken this innovation by storm, and they have actually stolen the spotlight, and there have actually been only a few people that have actually pulled this off. There've only been a few people to actually pull this off. First off that we have is the person of popular singer Lady Gaga, who actually wore a dress made of raw meat.
And of course, since she's Lady Gaga, people were willing to look at her and say this looks good.
Yeah, so she wore a dress made of raw meat to the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards, and then we saw real raw flank stick fashioned in a dress, hat, a purse, and even in her boots. That's amazing. That's wonderful. So Lady Gaga was actually one of the bold and one of the few people to actually pull this off in the fashion industry. Yeah. So and then another vivid instance shows models who wore these dresses at made of real chocolates at fashion food showcases like the Le Salon du Chocolat and the Beirut Cooking Festival. We saw that these people actually wore chocolates and dresses made of real chocolates to this cooking festival, and this fashion show, Le Salon du Chocolat. So we have Lady Gaga and these models bold people taking bold, big steps. And funny enough, these people actually got wide admirations, wide talks, wide, not necessarily speculation, but wide debates and wide popularity for this act, for these things that they pulled off. You get, and then we also have we also have um Cloris Leachman, Cloris Leachman, who wore a garment made of lettuce and cabbage in a PETA campaign. Yeah, she wore.
And since and
Yeah,
would you say that this and would you say that Cloris Leachman, would you say he made a better choice than Lady Gaga and the other designers? Like you said before, he made a out of
yeah,
lettuce.
yeah. She wore a gown made of lettuce and cabbage. Yeah.
And since Lady Gaga and the other designers wore a dress made of meats and chocolates, which would rot quickly and probably melt in less than a day, do you think that she was able to keep her own much longer?
Well, based on the lasting periods, we could probably say yes in a way, but I mean it's everybody's choice. Me, for me personally, I like Lady Gaga's bold step. Why? Because nobody was expecting her to do such. Nobody was expecting her to do such. So I sincerely, I like I like Lady Gaga's own effort from my own perspective. Why? Because how many people do you see carrying meat and they say, okay, we want to use meat to do a dress? No, not so much people. So for me personally, Lady Gaga. How about for you?
Well, I say that when I think about somebody who's been able to make like good food into clothing, I would mention Amy Goodhart, who was able to wear something made out of bread. Like we said before, if
No,
it's
she
bread.
didn't. She didn't wear it. She photographed people
Oh,
that were wearing it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So she photographed people that wore outfits made from foods like pasta, bread, etc. in fashion shoots. Yeah. So what are your takes on all this?
Well, I feel like promoting the idea of something like this is actually a very is like just like a very good cause. Like something that's even though some people may see this effort as kind of futile and useless, but the fact that she was actually able to go out there and actually feel like these things were actually something that were worth being documented. Yes, I take that to heart and I see that it was a worthwhile endeavor.
So with all these three people that we mentioned that have actually put on real food as dresses, who is your most favorite amongst them all? You asked me, I told you it's Lady Gaga for me. So who's your most favorite amongst them all?
Well, I guess not just trying to be like one of those people who go out and say, this person is more famous than this one. Still, I would still give 100 kudos to Lady Gaga for what she has done. I mean, putting meat on the body and going out and showing it off, that takes a lot of guts. Just takes a lot of, just takes a lot of guts to just go out there and do something like that.
So your favorite, you're saying it's Lady Gaga, not Cloris Lichman?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Lady Gaga.
Yep.
Yeah, Lady Gaga. So that's been an amazing wrap. That's been amazing time in this session. We look back to seeing you guys after the break where we'll be dive into yet another beautiful subtopic on this topic of food as wearable arts. Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
The techniques that you find on the material level, so where fabric is created,
Hey guys, we're back after the short break. It was short, but I'm sure we all enjoyed it. Anyway, now I'll be going to a deeper dive into what we've been talking about. In this segment, we're going to be explaining how all these different ideas, all these unconventional and all these strange and some might even say gross ideas have been able to be welcomed and viewed by the fashion community. What do you think, Joshua?
Well, me personally, I feel that these are actually bold and innovative steps to greatness on my own part. What do you think?
Well, I think that yes, they're bold and innovative. And of course, when people see these things, they just think that when they're shocked, they feel like I'm intrigued by this. I feel like some people will also be intrigued and want to try it for themselves. But I also think that many people will still see them as very wasteful. After all, we're talking about food here. And since many people end up dying of starvation every year, I just feel like when people see this, they'll just see that, you're putting it on your body, you should be putting it on our plates.
Yeah, yeah, you are right. Some people will actually see this as wasteful, and yes, some people have actually seen this as wasteful in the way that they've criticized this thing. So we see that some people have actually seen this act as wasteful, like you said. How?
And this is food that people work hard to obtain. I mean, when you're thinking about it, putting food on your body, something that will go bad in who knows how much time, something that you had to probably spend a lot of money getting, something that you probably just want to eat yourself, something that you spend time making, and then you just decide to put it on your body. I understand why some people would see that as wasteful. I
Mm.
understand why some people would see that as just a waste of produce.
Yeah, because why would you take the food that was supposed to consume, and like you said, you put it on your body, you're only going to wear it once, never again. So what's the point? So some people see this as, like you said, wasteful. There's no point. There's no issue. So while on the other hand, people do actually support these moves and praise them. Like for instance now, an iconic and legendary move. For instance, like Lady Gaga, for instance, her mid dress, people praise it, and it was even ranked as one of the most memorable outfits of the year. That year, 2010. So what do you think? Do you support these people's motion? Do you support their claims that is actually they are actually praising her? Do you support that?
Yes, I do. Even though there's some people, like let's say Peter, who condemned it as just a wasteful and offensive move, still, I would still support it, saying that, hey, this is somebody who's trying to expand the boundaries of fashion and introduce something new to our industry in large, and might even want to promote I just want to promote an idea that in the long run could actually serve us all in a very positive way.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, you're right. And then, in as much as some people praise this, we see that Peter actually condemned it. Peter actually condemned it as an act of offense, given that that's what people eat. What do you think? Should they have condemned this?
Well, when you think about it, I feel like, well, the reasons for condemning it were true, but I feel like they were just looking at it at a first glance, not actually looking at the message behind it. This is something that you need to actually examine deeply in order to understand,
Mhm.
not just look at it once and just say, ah, I already understand it. You can't fully understand something until you can dissect it on a very deep level, understand not just what it's made of, not just understand how it was made, but understand the very message and idea behind it. You need to understand what this person was thinking when they decided to try this. Only then can you only give a full and honest opinion about it.
You're right, you're right, you're right. So yeah, I said that actually pets actually like they criticized it like they criticized it, and they saw it like PETA is an animal rights group, and then they saw this as a very very negative one, and they saw it as offensive, given that meat is actually food that people eat, and they also saw it as a gratuitous shock value rather than meaningful design. So they were actually angry. Meat is what people eat, and they're an animal rights organization. So they were very, very, they're not so happy. They're not happy. And then the industry also presents food in eco-friendly ways, like materials derived from food waste, like citrus peel fibers or pineapple leather, reshaping how food interacts with sustainability. So, what do you think on a final note?
Well, to top it all off, like you just said, they're trying to show that food and sustainability can be side by side. And since we're talking about food, something that is scarce in our times now, something that's like we all know the old saying, too many mouths, not enough to go around. I feel like even though some people see this as a waste, like this is something that we all are trying our best to preserve. I feel like I feel like when you're trying to do something like this, I feel like they're trying to show exactly how important all this food is.
Yes.
They're taking what they eat and trying to put it in a way that shows exactly how much they feel like it is important to us, how important it is to all of us, how it should be preserved at all costs, how making sure that there's enough of it, and how making sure that it should last is very important.
Yeah,
They're trying to show us how important it is and how we should make sure that it lasts for everybody.
yeah, yeah, you're right, you're right, you're right. It's been an amazing time so far. We've discussed a lot about food, and then we saw how Lady Gaga pulled this off wonderfully at the MTV Music Video Awards. Yeah, very, very beautiful, very, very wonderful. Yeah, and mind you, she did actually win an award that day. She actually won an award that day. Very, very beautiful, very, very wonderful. We saw the history, we saw the criteria for the choice of these foods. We saw notable figures who have actually won, where we saw Lady Gaga and then those models at the Beirut cooking festival. And then we also saw Cloris Leachman who also went, and then we saw a worldwide view by the fashion community here. It's been an amazing time so far, and we know you've enjoyed it. Please leave some comments down below. Yeah, please leave some comments down below. And we also want to once again appreciate our sponsors, Style House Files, and our other sponsors as well, M78, for their wonderful works that they've been doing so far. Best, very, very amazing, beautiful, beautiful, wonderful. Here, we hope, we know you guys will stay tuned for another episode. We see you guys. We want to see you guys in the next episode. Yes, guys, stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned, and stay glued to the edge of your seats. This is Fashion Upcycled. See you guys.